Hi guys, how are you? Type A here. I would like to talk in this video about Reaktor. You guys see me constantly using Reaktor and its ensembles in my production videos, the music. And I took advantage of Black Friday deals and finally bought a license because I was like, fuck, you really like this instrument and you don't own it. I mean, legally own it. And I'm happy because it is worth every dollar. So let me open Reaktor and I'm going to show you my favorite Reaktor ensembles. And I'm going to talk about a bit like what they do and stuff. Well, in this video I would like to talk about the factory library, keeping apart the blocks. I'm still not, like, oh, the blocks. There's a lot of like beginners kind of a deal ensembles using the blocks in the Reaktor user library, and they're basically re-skinning or repatching the same blocks that are already here in this folder, all these instruments that comes with the factory library. But the old factory library, the one that came with Reaktor 5, it's pretty amazing. So let's start with the synthesizers. There's a lot, and a lot of them feature individuals or specific types of synthesis or qualities, sound qualities, but I really like to use Carbon 2. You're familiar with the scene because you can see me using it all the time in the videos. It's really a cool synth. Oh shit, let me plug my MIDI keyboard. And if we scroll through the presets, there's a lot of shit that you can make with this. I mean, the range of sounds that you can make, and Carbon 2 is like basically a subtractive synthesizer. You have 3 oscillators here, one ring oscillator which you can set up to ring modulate one against 2, 1 against 3 or so. You have a noise oscillator with several types of waveforms each. Then you have like a multi-mode filter, and this is like a pre-filter and distortion unit here, then the distortion again, and then the filter posted. This is all serial, and you have several modulation sources, envelopes, LFOs, velocity, all the MIDI keyboard shit, and you have like a panel of effects, pitch shifter, which is really cool. Let me put the initial preset again. Oh, let me open one of my presets. Synth. Really makes something, this pitch shifter shit. And here in the global you have like global controls like the overall pitch of the scene. You can set the polyphony to be polyphonic or monophonic, or legato, some unison modes, vibrato shit, all this stuff. And the sources are like the modulation sources. You have to control this thing. And when you choose like the wave oscillator, it's like a wavetable oscillator, and by going here in this subtab called wave, you can scroll to different types of waves. There's not much difference right now. So this is Carbon 2. I really like this thing, really nice quality. The other thing I like to use, like all the time, and it's my favorite in all the libraries, Photon. Okay, Photon is also like a subtractive synthesizer but with more advanced features. It has 3 oscillators with FM capabilities, and there's also this digital. It's like a also a wavetable oscillator, and you have this oscillator 4 which features more complex waveforms. There are waveforms here to kind of like to make sounds like a supersaw oscillator. All this 6 sine additive is to make organ sounds. If you go here to the presets, actually this machine has a lot of presets, and a lot of the people that program presets for this unit are well-known producers like Junkie XL or BT, Telephone Tel Aviv, and there's this religious section. This is like organ sounds using the 16 additive or a combination of waveforms. Oh, this is really cool. Here in this second bank, there's the presets that I was talking about. The first presets are from Junkie XL. You guys know him. He's making awesome soundtracks for all these really cool movies. A lot of like ambience. This is Photech Bank, which features like really nice basses. So the same, like 4 oscillators, a 5th oscillator which is like a read mode, a 6th oscillator which you can route to the filter, but and this is a scanner oscillator. You can fade in or fade out. I mean scan through the 4 oscillator signals, and you can send this to the filter in parallel mode, serial mode, or like dividing the signal, filter 1 divided by the multiplication of a filter 1 and filter 2, and you can route this wherever you want it. Also, you have 3 available modulation sources for each control of this. You can control pitch, the symmetry, which is like which is how to access to different waveforms in the oscillator, or in this pulse type waveform, like the PWM, pulse width modulation. There are saturation units that you can set to go pre or post filter. Man, a lot of tools in this thing, and I don't know why people that own Reaktor don't use this more, because this sounds really amazing. And the other thing that I like to use, but I'm not using it too much like these days, is Laserbase. Basically because Laserbase is like a monophonic, like additive synthesizer, and the sound quality is excellent, but additive synthesis, and I think of Laserbase right now as a one of the, because you guys know that I like to use image line Hammer, and Hammer is like, I think is the most powerful additive synthesis tool out there, not only for the resynthesis, but the synthesis, the things you can do with the unison settings and stuff. It's really cool. And Laserbase, for a Reaktor like owner, or you get the same type of quality you get with other additive synthesizers. I mean, Razer is another additive synthesizer by Native Instrument, and it's built inside Reaktor, and it's not the same quality as this. Some people may say it's better, but this is really cool. Like to get basses and leads, just scroll through the presets. Listen to this. Okay, so this is it for synthesizers. The other, I mean, I'm using a lot of this stuff, but in sound generators, the metaphysical function is really cool. This is a sound generator unit. It starts to outputting signal once you open it, and you see all those faders moving automatically. You can program the movement in these recorders here below each section, and this is really complex, and you can make all sorts of weird droney textures using the metaphysical function. There are also presets by BT and all sorts of well-known producers. The way you use this in, I don't know if I used it while I was doing my track from scratch, but you resample a 8 bars or 16 bar loop, and then you start chopping it up and rearrange the elements, looking for those little pieces that fit with your music. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can use this, but it's really, really awesome. There's also the scroll and the space run, but I like the metaphysical function more. So in samplers, I'm not using any of the samplers. Groove boxes, yeah. My favorite is the splitter. A splitter is like a sequencer and a sampler with granular features. I mean, like you can make a lot of stuff with this. Listen to the presets. This works by loading. I mean, if you press here, you can access this. This sample, this loop is mapped to C2 on the keyboard. You can double click this and assign your own sample, or you can use the ones that comes with it by default. And here in the below panel, you have like the controls for offset, so you can set the start point of the sample. You can change pitch, you can change the speed, the grain. And I fitted this instrument not only with percussion samples, but with synth sounds, ambience, like textures and shit, and the result is pretty cool. And I'm looking in the Reaktor user library for an instrument with this unit, but not like, because you can only map like 16 notes to this, like the full range keyboard, to use it like a granulizer synthesizer. And so far I have no luck in find it, but I think this is something that if I put an effort I can make, because I don't think it's like too much complicated. So this is a splitter. This is really cool. Let's look for another preset. A random tree. crystal method kind of beat. Shit. Oh shit, this is really cool. And let's look for another. Okay, in here I like the splitter Factory, but I don't use it too much these days. Limelight, this is like a groove box with a sequencer for a kick, snare, a hat, and or other weird sound. Also, you can sequence this tie, pad, and mod. Mod is like a modulation feature, but pod and tie are this, and basically samples that you can sequence on top of the regular drums. The way I like to use it is to scroll through the presets and make it like changes in the already made presets, and maybe resample it and use it in my songs, like initial, no, for your pleasure. It's really cool. All types of cool sounds here. There are 3 bands, all of them filled with a lot of cool presets. You can hear the quality is excellent. There are more that I like, but these days I find it myself like programming all my drums. So like I say, if I want to use some of the sounds, I will resample something that's already made and rearrange the individual hits to make it like fit my own loops. And in the effects section, there's a lot of here that is really cool. For instance, this Space Master is like an advanced reverb. I'm not using it much these days, but this is a tool that I've used all the time in the past. Space Master, the Reaktor. Okay, Reaktor is like a resonator unit that imprints harmonic content to an incoming signal. I mean, you can get notes out of kick drums, like high pitched notes and different harmonic stuff using this. My problem with this is that it's really hard to control if you don't know how to use it, and so far I've not dig deep too much in this unit, and sometimes I like to hook it up to the back of another ensemble like Photon or Carbon, and I resample the sound by programming like a simple synth in the synthesizer and then scrolling through the presets here, and it gets like most of the time it gets good results by doing this. So there are a lot more here. I mean, the fast effects, you guys see me using this and in the track from scratch videos. I think the first track from scratch I've used it. This is like a multi-effects unit. You play it, it has a loop player here, so you can loop a sample and mess with the unit, or if you want to use it in your signal, if you want to put this as an insert effects in Renoise and like affect the loop there or the sound that you're working with, you just put it in 1 and 2. It suddenly starts to stops the sound, the loop player, and it will let past your loop. So let's load the loop. Let's load a drum loop. Here. Drum loops. Drum and bass loop. My guess is like 174 maybe. and let me load this as an effect here. Reaktor 6 effects. Fast effects in 1 and 2, and let me put this loop in here. Oh, let me loop the loop here. So it has like this freeze, which is like a loop. Has this, like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but this sounds really cool. And you can mess with individual slices. There's a slide manipulator. You can reverse the slice, set to chop the sample into different units. There's a gate, and you can change the gate here, the preset gate. A delay. Not here. Finally, a filter unit that you can scroll to different pieces, like the gate unit, and all of this in combination makes like a really cool tool to work live, or simply by randomly automating all of these enable buttons right here, and gets all sorts of weird crazy sounds, and then resample and rearranging. And this is what I do almost all the time, because I don't like to feel that I need to control this in order to make it work. So that's why resampling works this good to me, because I have a sample and then I can select the parts that I'm using, and once a sample is inside the sampler instrument renoise, you can play it at whatever pitch you want, you can process it again, and it's really interesting. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Reaktor is like endless source of inspiration to me, and this Reaktor is like a library, but it's like your sample library, but instead of scrolling through to different audio clips, you're scrolling through synthesizers and effects and this whole complete. I think the concept with Reaktor is more is more. I mean, when you start using Reaktor, you don't using a synth like I'm going to program all of my sound with the synth. This is not how it works. You need to go and like discover the rest of the stuff that Reaktor has to offer, and it sort of widen your palette of sounds, and this is really cool. So thank you for watching this video. Put your comments below, subscribe to my channel, all of this stuff, and see you in next video, which I think is like Subtractive Synthesis for Beginners Part 2, or maybe I upload the next episode of Tracks from Scratch number 3. So peace.